Good evening. Welcome to the January 13th regular City Council meeting. D-Stas Elliott, will you please call roll?
Mayor Benjamin.
Present.
Councilmember Fajarin.
Here.
Councilmember McDonald.
Here.
Councilmember Parks.
Here.
Councilmember Schumlaus.
Here.
Councilmember Vance.
Here.
Councilmember Weller.
Present.
Councilmember Wright.
So for first order is Mayor's community announcements. First thing I'd like to do is welcome our two newest council members here, Trevor and Tony. It's good to have you here at the dais and look forward to some great discussions and the work that the council is going to be doing. So that's exciting. The second thing is I'd like to this is our first meeting after our December windstorm, and I'd like to really do a thank you out to Avista for all the work they did, along with all of our dedicated city staff that were involved in really what do I say, responding to the needs and issues of our community. If we look at, for parks, public works, police, fire, your care for our community, your hard work and dedication, really your responsiveness is something that really shows. And I would say at least every third day right now, I still get community members that come up to me and thank how responsive Avista and city staff was in this process. And so that's something that we really shined in the midst of the issue, and I appreciate everybody's involvement in that. Thank you. Continuing on for community announcements, we do have a holiday closure coming up. Pullman City Council, City Administrative Offices, Neal Public Library, Pullman Parks and Recreation, and Parks and Rec Preschool will be closed for Martin Luther King Jr. Day on Monday, January 19th. Regular hours will resume on Tuesday, January 20th. Emergency services will remain available. Coming up on that Monday, join us on January 19th as we bring the WSU community and Pullman communities together through community service to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy, the partnerships with local organizations. This event is dedicated to strengthening connections and building a stronger community for all. This is part of the Pullman Days of Service, where we've identified 5 different days through the year where we're creating these community service opportunities. And for more information and to volunteer, you can go to pullman-wa.gov/days of service. Coming up on Friday, you can join Pullman's USA's 250th Celebration Planning Committee that's working to plan events to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The first event planning meeting is this Friday, January 16th from 3 to 4 here in the City Council chambers. If you can't make the meeting on Friday, please indicate your interest by filling out the form at pullman-wa.gov/USA 250. And we're working to plan a number of events over the course of this 250th year. For Parks and Recreation, winter and spring activity registration. Registration for winter and spring activities at Pullman Parks and Recreation is still available. View the activity guide and register at pullmanparksandrec.com. Veterans Memorial Park, please help the American Legion Maynard Price Post 52 and the Pullman Cemetery Committee raise funds to construct a dedicated space to honor all veterans. You can donate or buy a brick to immortalize a special veteran in your life. Visit pullman-wa.gov/Veterans Park, all one word, to learn more. And my wife and I have already purchased our brick for our son who's in the military. So it's a great thing. For the Neal Public Library, we have movies at the library. Youth of all ages and their grown-ups are invited to movies at the library this Friday, January 16th from 3 to 5. This week's movie is Inside Out 2. And for the adults, come get crafty at the Adults Craft Club at Neal Public Library on January 20th from 4 to 6. This month we'll be making visioning boards. The last piece I have is we talked about the format of City Council and trying to get more into the work sessions or study sessions. So what we'll be working on is having at least one meeting a month that is regular business where we'll be taking action, and then at least one meeting that will be a study session where it's an opportunity to go deeper dive onto a project. So our next council meeting will be one of those study sessions. And as a part of that, that's where we'll bring back the STR piece. So we can do a deeper dive related to that. And next item up is non-agenda related community comments. This agenda item is the first of two opportunities during this meeting for the public to bring comments to the attention of the elected officials. Specifically, this item is reserved for public comments, concerns, or other information not related to a previous public hearing or final action on the agenda. Final action items include confirmation of appointments, consent agenda, and regular agenda items. This agenda item for comments will not exceed 30 minutes in total. Comments will be directed to the mayor or the city council as a body. No comments should be directed to an individual council member. Is there anyone who would like to provide non-agenda related community comments? With that, welcome, Bobby, and it's a new year.
Yes, Happy New Year. Thank you very much, Mayor and Council. I have a couple of items. Number one, yesterday we opened up the B&O tax credit program is ready to receive pledges, and that is exciting. We've already had some pledges come in, and that's even more exciting. If you want, it's basically for every dollar that you contribute to the Downtown Pullman Association, you receive a 75% tax credit the following year on your B&O taxes. So we encourage you to find out more about that. Most people, when I tell them how it works, and they look at the ramifications of the whole thing and the benefit that they get from that, and it leaves the money locally, it brings it back locally, they just are very excited and pleased to participate. So look forward to hearing from people. I also want to mention that the DPA is sponsoring a jigsaw puzzle competition on January 24th. And teams are forming, and the locations will be announced next week. One fun category is a family team, so sign up for that one, or just bring your friends. It's a great way to connect with others. Coming up in February, as we are starting to plan for a Mardi Gras celebration, just to work with the different businesses to create a party, and you'll be hearing more about that. And then finally, Music on Main is it's been donated over to the Downtown Pullman Association from the Chamber. We're happy to take this on, and we are looking for dance bands and performers that can really get people out of their seats and moving. So we're excited by that. Please contact me or the Downtown Pullman Association if you've got a band that can rock it. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to provide non-agenda related community comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to city council member comments. And it's a new year, so we're going to mix things up from what we've done before. And so I'll actually rotate around who starts with the community comments, so it's not just always one direction. And so, Councilmember Weller, do you have any community comments? Any council member comments?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I'd just like to say it's very exciting to have these three join us. You all ran amazing campaigns. All of the candidates did. The collaboration that you all shown, I've never seen anything like it. So I'm excited. There's a lot of good energy I feel up here. And I know our staff, we've got good, professional, forward-thinking staff. And with all of your ideas coming on board, I think it's going to be a great year. So thank you all for joining us, and 2026 is going to be great. Thank you.
Councilmember McDonald?
Excited to be here, excited to have the other newly elected folks here. Looking forward to work with everyone. Thank you.
Councilmember Parks?
I just want to echo what Nathan said about welcoming the new members and looking forward to working with all of you on the work that we do. Thank you.
Councilmember Schumas?
I guess I'm going to echo everything. I'm really excited to be here. A little nervous to be up here tonight, but very excited to be here. And And thank you to everybody up here. I know you guys work really hard. Thank you to staff. Thank you to everybody who got out and voted. I'm just really excited to be here. Thank you.
Councilmember Vance?
I wrote a few thoughts down. When we got sworn in, I left my notebook behind. So I'm making up for last time, I suppose. But I'm excited and honored to be here and get started serving the community. I've been in Pullman a decade, and like so many of you, I care deeply about our city and where we're heading in the future. I'm excited to listen and learn and work collaboratively with all of you up here on the dais. And I'm a strong believer in servant leadership in our city. Local government should be built on that same level of respect, transparency, engagement with all people. And I'm excited for this chapter and grateful to have earned the trust of the voters. I'm looking forward to serving with council, with staff, and the community as a whole. Thank you.
Councilmember Fajarin?
Well, I can't say much more than ditto. Tani, Brian, Trevor, thank you so much. 2026 is going to be awesome, but not without its challenges, so I look forward to working with all of you.
Councilmember Wright?
I'm a ditto as well. Saving the best for last, of course, right?
Of course.
Looking forward to working with both old and newly electeds on the dais, and it is going to be a great year. One thing, though, that I would like to comment on, and it is with pleasure that I can commend Bobby Ryder in her role as Executive Director of the Downtown Pullman Association. She has done some absolutely fabulous things, and everywhere, that's where she is. So it's like she's just tireless, and we can see your signature just all over the downtown, Bobby, and it's just been absolutely fabulous. So thank you for your efforts. Appreciate it.
The next item on the agenda is City Council future regular agenda item requests. Are there any council members that have a future agenda item request? Seeing none, we'll move on to community comments on final action items. This agenda item is the second of two opportunities during this meeting for the public to bring comments to the attention of the elected officials on any agenda item. The City Council will take final action item at the meeting, excluding items where public comment was previously accepted. This agenda item will not exceed 30 minutes in total. Comments will be directed to the mayor and the City Council as a body. No comments should be directed to an individual council member. Is there anyone who would like to provide community comments on final action items? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item, which is presentations, and the first item of that is a group photo. And so with that, council will move down and we'll let Megan arrange us in order to get our photo.
Come on, Daniel.
I love it. Oh, you were talking to me? Yes. Well, yeah. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I mean, I'm happy you're happy. Yes, I do. We probably do not need 3 layers, y'all. Get you a little bit more in here. Yeah, turn in just a little, this way. Do that. And yes, I'm using my iPhone, but it handles this light so much better. So, I'm going to take a bunch of photos, so just to make sure that everybody. Keep looking at her. Yeah, just keep looking at me. Oh, good, he's going to stand behind me and photos too. I just love that. Yeah, look right at this lens over here. Shooting and shooting and shooting, so we get a bunch of pictures and everybody's not looking at something pretty there. And I think we got it. Thank you all.
Next up on presentations is City Council Rules and Procedure. And with that, City Administrator Sean Wells.
That would be me. Good morning and good evening, good night. We're done. No, there are rules and procedures. So the mayor thought the umpire and me needed to explain the rules of the game. And I thought I would start this year off with a bang. So the council rules and procedures originally were adopted in 2013 on February 5th. And they've been amended twice since then. The first amendment was in 2021 when we moved into this building. We changed the address of where you needed to go to come to a council meeting. And then the second amendment was done in 2024, and that was intended to primarily change the order of business. And so that created the procedure, the business on how we operate today. I wanted to give a high level of what the rules are. And I included all this in the agenda packet as the original resolution, the two amendments, but this kind of summarizes everything together. So in a very high level kind of topic there. So regular meetings meet at City Hall. Note it says 7 p.m. There is a discrepancy between the ordinance that was passed, Ordinance 25-05, the beginning of last year, where we set the time from 7 to 5:30. We didn't come back and change the resolution. Ordinances will trump resolutions, so that's why we're here tonight at 5:30. That is something that does need to be changed for the future, and that's why the asterisks are there. The rules say that we have to end the meeting at 10:30. Otherwise, unless the council agrees by majority to extend the meeting past that time, we end at 10:30, and we can, at that point, then continue a meeting at a later date, but at some point we would finish it if we didn't get done by 10:30. Hopefully we do. The other types of meetings that we can have are special meetings. These are meetings that anything other than a regular meeting is called a special meeting. These are primarily at a different time, a different location, a different date. And then there are special notification requirements that are required for special meetings that the city clerk knows all about and has to comply with. There are emergency meetings, which is basically a special meeting that follows a formal declaration of an emergency. So that allows for us to have a meeting of the council like within 24 hours. We can meet today to talk about something that's happened. We've had a major fire, a bridge that's washed out or whatever. We need action from the council now. So there's an ability for us to have what's called an emergency meeting. Executive sessions are a portion of any meeting, a regular or a special meeting that we can have. They're closed to the public. There's specific rules that we have in place on what can go to an executive session. And we have to announce the purposes of those executive sessions before going in. So that's why we always say there's an RCW. The mayor will have one tonight that we'll have, and we'll get to see that in action tonight. Conduct at city council meetings. So the mayor is the presiding officer. We follow Robert's Rules of Order, and the mayor is designated as the presiding officer. It could be the mayor pro tempore or the alternate mayor pro tempore. Depends on who's here. Following that, I would defer to the city attorney and say, who do we have to start the meeting? Because we'd be down to 4, and do we even have a quorum at that point? We do, but it gets really tricky once you get down to that level. The mayor is supposed to call the meetings to order. The clerk calls the roll. The mayor may take agenda items out of order with concurrence of the council. The presiding officer is in charge of preserving order and decorum, observing and enforcing the rules, deciding the questions of procedure. So if there's a point of order, then the mayor is the one that determines that point of order. The mayor is in charge of recognizing the members in order. There is a rule that says that we try not to allow council members to speak twice until everyone has been given the opportunity to speak at least once. The mayor is in charge of controlling the council meetings and can recess meetings, cause the removal of anybody for disorderly conduct, boisterous, threatening, or personally abusive, and can engage the Pullman Police Department to assist in that. That's why Aaron's in the back row. The order of business. This is the latest resolution that adopted this current order of business. So there's a lot, as we've seen here, call to order, roll call, mayor's announcements, and they're all listed there. We get down to the next step, comments on final actions, confirmation of appointments, presentations. We're at K right now. Good job. We're halfway through. Consent agenda is next. If we have any public hearings, we would go to that. There's a regular agenda, so we try to start with ordinances first, resolutions and motions kind of in that order. The last meeting, we had so many different things and so many different staff. We have the ability within the order of business, it's written that we can, for the purposes of logistics, reorganize those as necessary. So that's why we saw one staff member doing like 5 things and then another one doing 3 things. And so it made better sense to flow that way. We can have any discussions, any new business to come before the council at that point, any executive sessions. Executive sessions can be called earlier in the meeting as necessary before we talk about some kind of a topic if we need to do so. And then we get out of here at the adjournment. The consent agenda in specific, it's for business that's considered routine in nature. So we need to hire a contractor or do some kind of stuff like that. We try to bring most of that to you in a regular agenda, but if it is consent, like paying the bills, paying the invoices, stuff like that, we do wrap that up in the consent agenda. We enact that with a single motion, and it doesn't require or allow for any separate discussion, but you always have the ability to pull that off of the consent agenda and bring it into the regular agenda for separate consideration. Citizen participation in meetings is highly encouraged. We will have sign-up sheets that are typically available back on the counter. We ask that they speak at the podium that's primarily for the microphone and the cameras so that there is a more formal ability for us to hear them and broadcast them. People need to give their name and address for the public record, and the mayor may impose time limits. Currently, he's imposed 2 minutes per speaker. That can change at any meeting to meeting if he so decides. And then remark on any matter that will be addressed for the city council as a whole, and they're asked to not address city staff or any other member of the audience at the council. Duties of the city clerk are written into the rules of procedure as well. D is supposed to keep account of all proceedings, prepare brief and concise minutes. It's not a word for word or verbatim set of minutes, but it's mostly what's called action minutes of what things happened and not necessarily the debate back and forth and he said, she said. And then the clerk is to record the votes and then to prepare the agenda for the meeting as well. Council debate on any agenda items. When speaking to a motion, you're asked to be courteous in your language and deportment. Confine your remarks to facts which are germane and relevant to that particular topic. And that the meeting is governed by Robert's Rules of Order, so that if we had amendments to the motion and things like that, we have to follow the Robert's Rules of Order on that. And our parliamentarian, Thad O'Sullivan over there, helps us with that as well. Council action on agenda items. We read the title. We don't have to read the entire ordinance word for word, so we're not sitting here for 300 pages of the zoning code reading it. We just read it by title. Make motion and be clear and concise. So when those are made, we ask that we can hear you, that you're clear on what that means. After the motion has been made and seconded, you may ask questions of staff and discuss. As you've seen, we've done that. We'll call for the roll, and then the ability to reconsider that within the same meeting. And that gets to be a very kind of tricky procedural thing, but used if necessary. We haven't used that here in a very long time. Ordinances, it says they needed to be prepared or reviewed by the city attorney. Currently, they're reviewed. Thad, we're going to ask you to prepare them all. No. And then once they're enacted, they're signed by the mayor, typically that night or the very next day. The mayor has the right to veto that ordinance within 10 days. And then there is a procedure for the council to override that veto at the next regular council meeting with a majority vote. Public hearings are a function that can happen. We have 2 different kinds of public hearings. Legislative, which is primarily to obtain public input on proposed decisions or matters of public policy. So you need a little bit more information. You want the public to have a direct or specific time to talk about a particular topic that can be had. Quasi-judicial public hearings are to decide issues including the rights of specific parties that include particularly land use decisions, preliminary plats, rezones, variances, and things like that. And then there is an appearance of fairness doctrine. So if there is a topic during any of these that come up that you may have an appearance of fairness or the likely appearance of a conflict, that needs to be disclosed. And then you would do a couple things, either recuse yourself from the discussion and get out of the way, basically, so that the topics can be discussed in a non-biased appearance of fairness way. And so that's it. I presented that to you. There are some changes to that document that are necessary that staff would, in looking at this and preparing this tonight, would recommend. Number one, that time change that I highlighted earlier. There are several references to city supervisor that still exist and not city administrator. And then there's some other procedural things too that may be a benefit to the council, and I'll let Mayor Benjamin talk about some of those here.
And, you know, and part of what I want to make sure is that we're all in agreement. What are our rules? What are the things that we're operating under? I know there were some conversations over the course of last year where there were some council members that said, well, do we want to change this rule or do we want to change that rule? And that's something that if there is that interest, that's something we could do within the rules that Sean Wells went through. One of them has to do with how many council members does it take to put something on the agenda. Right now it is 2. So with 2 council members, you could put something on the agenda. There were some conversations last year, well, do we want to increase that to 3 or not? And that's something that as a council, these are your rules, and so you'd be the ones that would be, if you wanted to do that, that's something you could do. Similarly, we have restrictions as it relates to public comment. Do you want similar restrictions on council members related to their community comment time or not? And that's, as council members, you get to choose the rules. I'm putting it out there, you know, in that context. I know there's one city that actually within their rules has cell phone use policy. That cell phones, you know, are off during the council meeting. So, and you'll hear as you talk with other, as you're out talking with other city electeds, you'll hear different rules in that way. And so this is the document as it relates to that. Now, I wanted to, not that I'm expecting anybody has, oh, I want to change this rule right now. If someone has something where you'd like to talk about, we can. If not, it is something that we could, you know, in this study session that we have next council meeting, just say, as you've looked at it, do you have any comments or any things you'd like to see improvements with? So with that, I'd open up any questions of Sean, first of all, related to these, and then any discussion that we want to have among the council. So any questions of Sean just as it relates to the rules? Councilmember Fajarin?
Thank you, Sean. Just a clarification. Do we only allow public comment in person for council meetings? Say if somebody wanted to make a public comment online, would we take that?
Public comments are kind of regulated through the Open Public Meetings Act. And so the public comments that are allowed are in person or written. And the written ones would need to come to the clerk ahead of the meeting so that they could be included in the record for the meeting.
Thank you.
Councilmember Schumas?
So just for anybody that's listening, if they have a comment, does it get emailed to us and then we forward it to D, or do you just have that then if it gets emailed to us? Like, how would someone make sure that you got it? Just for clarification for anybody listening.
If I receive an email from a constituent, I send it to the entire council.
Okay.
And that's if the email indicates this is for the council, then we would make sure it's distributed to all the council.
Correct. It needs to go through the city clerk. If it comes to you directly, it doesn't go to the clerk.
Okay, so I'm just clarifying for anybody listening, if they have something that they want to say to everybody, it does not go to us. It would go to the clerk. That would have been
That's
helpful
correct.
for me many
That's
times.
Any others before, if not, Councilmember Fajarin?
Well, I would just make the comment, just send it to the council member email, because then it does reach all of us. So there's a shared email, or email address that goes to all council members.
Correct.
Any other questions of Sean? Councilmember Weller?
So, Sean, I know we were looking at, and perhaps, Mr. Mayor, you can answer this as well. So the way we were doing the meetings, the process, I know there had been some discussions because this was kind of a trial that we were looking at originally, like this organization, and there had been some confusion between C and G, so non-agenda related community comments, and then also community comments on final action items for this agenda. And could you explain, either one, exactly why it's that way, and is there any way we can combine in the interest of minimizing confusion and streamlining the process?
Sure. The Open Public Meetings Act requires public comment on any meeting that has final action. So if we have a meeting that does not provide final action, no business is done like the intent of the study session, then we're not obligated to include public comment on those items. We have the right to do so, but we're not obligated to do so. And so the way this was set up with the previous city administrator and then previous council was to be able to eliminate one of those items. So if we have no public comment on final action, we can exclude that from the agenda. But we still, at that time, the council wanted to be able to provide public comment on at any meeting, at any time. So that's how it was set up originally in the current form, back when this was adopted in that third resolution. But we still have that ability to do that. One of the things that staff would be recommending too is this is the agenda for the regular business, but if we're going to entertain, say, the study session concept, is that we slim this down quite a bit so that there isn't the requirement to have a public comment or a public opportunity, but maybe the ability to do so as an option, if we wanted to have the public to do that or not. Staff's going to recommend that if we don't have any public action, that we don't have any public comment, but it's still council's prerogative to do so. They're your rules.
Councilmember Shumis?
Just a random question about the study sessions. It was suggested to some of us that this felt very formal sometimes in those study sessions. Are we able to do a thing where maybe we sat down there and worked with each other and with people, or do we always have to be up here?
The logistics of that is exactly what you were talking about. The intent would be that we would bring some of the tables over and make it more kind of like a conversational roundtable, if you will. Staff being able to present topics that may be complex or difficult or even controversial, so that we can have kind of an open discussion, less formal than what's here right now as a podium, and that the intent would be primarily for staff to present these concepts, maybe even have some of the longer presentations that we have from the public or special interest groups that come in, be able to do that at those sessions so that it becomes very, I shouldn't say very, but less formal than what tonight is.
Thank you.
You bet.
Councilor McDonald?
Personally, I like the idea of the public comment and making it simple and more streamlined all the way around. It does feel funny on the other side of this to be like public comments and then we talk and then public comments again. And personally, we don't have that many that I've seen public comments every time, that it seems like if we could simplify it and say that, you know, let's just make it available and it includes final action or not, and just make it a normal practice and make that as unintimidating as possible. I mean, I would love to see that.
So these, right now, questions of Sean, and then I'm going to move that to a discussion among ourselves. I'm trying to separate the two. So any other just questions with what was presented? If not, then let's move to kind of discussion among council members, and a couple of you have made this comment related to bringing back together public comment together, so there's just one public comment time. What are thoughts people have related to this? Councilmember Parks?
I like that the comments are at the beginning of the meeting. So if people are only here to do that, then they can do it and leave. I'm not sure if there's a way to combine them, all of them. I do know that, I think I know that the first comments are, again, for folks like Bobby or our chamber representatives or anyone like that as well, to go ahead and give their talk and then they can go. They don't need to be here, whereas the final action are specific to what is on that agenda, like a ceasefire resolution or downtown construction, which both received many hours of comments from our public. So you're right, a lot of times there's hardly any, but sometimes there can be an issue that fills this room. And so I don't know how to adjust for that, but those are just my thoughts.
I mean, we definitely can bring them together. There's nothing that says that we can't bring them together, and just then the times where there aren't any action item. I mean, we would just communicate to the council, to the community related to that. Other thoughts? Councilmember Fitzgerald?
Thank you. And thank you, Councilman Weller, for bringing this up. Sitting up here, I see that is probably the biggest point of contention for the people who come here. And so I would support combining them in some manner, as long as we're abiding by the RCWs.
So I hear kind of a consensus. So that's something that we'll be bringing. We won't make the change. It's something that will need to be brought to the council for you to vote that in. And so that's something from staff. Are there any other thoughts as it relates to what you saw as it related to that you'd like to talk about? Councilmember Parks.
I would like to see the change in the procedure of council members bringing future agenda items. And I think it should, I would like to see it be brought by 3 instead of 2.
Okay. Thoughts?
I don't know how others feel about that.
No, this is a discussion time.
I don't know.
Councilor Shimas?
Yeah, I don't know anything about how it works. But if 4 is a quorum, 3 is a pretty high bar. So for me, being in my first year of this, I would feel comfortable keeping it at 2 while we're trying to get the lay of the land and then revisit it, but that's just my thoughts.
I'm good with 2.
Councilmember Fitzgerald?
Considering, I think 3 is probably the maximum council members you can work without breaking public records requests, I feel like 2 is a good place to keep it for now.
Okay. Any other? Any other conversations we want to discuss related to this? Seeing none? Okay. Jean, do you have enough information with their comments?
I do. My intent would be then to prepare the revised resolution, which would wipe out the first, second, and third and restart anew, to kind of clean everything up. So that way we're not keeping addending and amending. One point of order, the city attorney just advised me there is some obligation for us, and back to the public comment types of forms that we can accept. You've got that in front of you, Mr. O'Sullivan. Would you like to prepare or please talk about that a little bit deeper?
There was a question about if someone wanted to provide public comment remotely. Under the RCW, if it's requested, we need to make efforts to make that available, which I think we have in the past.
Which we have, and what we have is they need to contact us within a certain, so much time prior to the meeting so that we have time in order to prepare for it.
Yep.
There is actually a place on the city's website for them to do that under the clerk's office.
Great.
And then my intent would be then to, like I said, clean up the resolution and prepare that for adoption, possible adoption in the February meeting.
Okay, great,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
The next item is related to code of conduct. You have before you the code of conduct that was passed. This was originally back at 2023, and this is something that we have then discussed since then with these councils going forward, and it really has to do with, as it relates to code of conduct, is what's the code of conduct that we are expecting for us to live by, for those that are on our committees, for our staff, and for the public that is actually engaging with this as it talks. So it's an expectation that is a community-wide expectation in this way. Within the code of conduct, we talk about the covenant of understanding, respect, being prepared for meetings, speaking to it, listening, asking. Part of this is if someone feels that there is that you're out of line with the code of conduct, it's not whether you feel as the person speaking that you're out of line, it's do they perceive that you are treating them in a way that doesn't follow the code of conduct. So this is something that I'd like to bring forward, because I think it's something that's important for us to have a code of conduct and an agreement that way. The other piece is, are there areas of the code of conduct that you would like to change or modify? And that could be something that is brought back to a future meeting if you don't want to, at this time, kind of work through. If you're not prepared for it, it might be a challenge to work through, but it's something that understand this is the code of conduct that is expected for us and for those within the community. With that, any thoughts, questions? Councilmember Schumas?
So a WWF cage match is not allowed.
No. Councilmember Fajarin?
Just make a motion. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have an inquiry because I believe that you are in charge of enforcing the code of conduct. Just since this was implemented, I am aware of one instance, but have you had any other instance where this was a problem being followed with folks?
We've had different people that have brought code of conduct concerns. Depending on who the code of conduct is about, it may fall to me, or it may fall to our city administrator, or it may fall to the attorney. It depends how close I am to the situation, type of a thing. But so this is something where it has been brought forward, has been looked at. The one thing that I would say related to those reviews is the code of conduct is not very specific. And so sometimes it's hard to actually, well, this is where the violation of this specific code of conduct was because of, and it's not that I'm saying we need to be more specific. I think the code of conduct is more the ideals and in that context. And so that's where it can be a challenge when the review happens in that way. Okay. Councilmember Weller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I will just add on that. I know several years ago, this was something that several council members had talked about. I think we even discussed it in goal setting many years ago. And it really speaks a lot to civility in politics. And I think that's kind of the nature or the philosophy that it's trying to embody. So,
Councilmember McDonald?
Yeah, I think just kind of going along the lines I mentioned earlier, I think I loved reading this ahead of the meeting and the emphasis on things like hear every voice and the interest to engage, and I think just as we have opportunities for public comment and how the timing and logistics work, the more that I think that's an important part to focus on is what does it feel like to the people that are sitting out there.
Okay. So any other discussion related to it? So there's an expectancy that we're following it. If in the midst of your review, if it's something where you're like, it'd be nice for us to kind of do a deeper dive or maybe do some edits, that's something that can always be brought back in that way. Moving on, the next item is confirmation of appointments. And I have before you a motion confirming for appointment Ginger Flynn to the Lodging Tax Advisory Commission, with the term expiring December 31st of 2028. And with that, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to confirm Ginger Flynn appointed to the Lodging Tax Commission with the term expiring December 31st, 2028.
And I have a second here. With that, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One thing that I will, especially with the new council members, we've, as you've watched the last month, there's been a number of appointments that have happened and reappointments that have happened. And you might be going, okay, where are we at in it? Right now, we have, for the Arts Commission, 2 open positions. So if you know someone for that. The Cemetery Committee, we have 1 open position. The Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee, we have 3 open positions. And the Historic Preservation Commission, we have 1 open position. So if you know individuals that would be good in one of those, I encourage them to go to the city's website, and there's a way that they can then apply for those. Councilmember Wright? Yes.
Just wanted to make a comment that today we did have, Lodging Tax Advisory Commission meeting that was fully attended with the exception of Ginger, and it was absolutely delightful to have the level of engagement that happened today and a great group of people that have been appointed. So I just want to say it's well worth everybody's effort to look at these appointments, and I'm pleased to be working with all of them. So thank you.
Thank you. Next item is consent agenda. The items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted by a single motion of the City Council without separate discussion. I would entertain a motion to read the consent agenda by title only.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that, if you could please read the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 1 is a motion to dispense with the reading of the regular meeting minutes of December 16, 2025, and approve them as submitted. Item 2, a motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks number 2011-32902 through 2011-33271, totaling $1,840,380.88. Item 3, a motion to approve disbursements for electronic transfers numbered 566 through 604, totaling $3,102,018.47. And finally, a motion authorizing amendment number 1 to the Small Community Air Service Development Program Grant Agreement.
Do any council members desire to have any items removed from the consent agenda to be discussed separately? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Second.
Second. With that, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And that passes. Great. Thank you very much. On now to regular agenda. The first item up, we have ordinance number 2601. And with that, Ariel.
Thank you. Good evening, council. Since we do have some new faces, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Ariel. I'm one of the planners within community development. I know it's spelled funny to how it's said, but it is just R-E-L. Super simple, 3 letters, pretty easy. So before you, we have an ordinance that the Historic Preservation Commission and staff has been working on. I know it seems a little funny. We just went through a big code update, and now we have more code stuff. State guidance comes out when the state says it does. So shortly after we adopted the code, the Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation for Washington State sent out some new guidance on how your historic preservation code should read, and we took that. The commission created a subcommittee, so myself and the subcommittee has worked on, over the past few months, just making sure the guidance is in line with what the state says. There was some additional grammar that has come out from the Department of Interior and the National Park Service, and so we've done amendments based off of that. Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation has reviewed the amendments. They do have to approve them before we can bring them to you for final adoption. And so we've gotten the okay from everyone above us that we need to bring it to you tonight. So it is mainly grammar and then just making sure we're following state guidance.
And with that, any questions of Ariel? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Thad, if you could read the ordinance, please.
Yes. It's ordinance number 26-01, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Pullman, Whitman County, Washington, relating to historic preservation, amending Pullman City Code Section 17.15, amending ordinance number 25-08, 2025, and other matters properly related thereto.
With that, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And so it passes. Thank you, Ariel. And one thing related, just for new council members, you notice there's a lot of RCWs related to this one. The Historic Preservation Commission is a commission that there's some things that they do independent from the city council based on RCW, and there's some things that they're under city council related to. So they're a commission that actually kind of has a split role in that way, and that's the reason why you're seeing so much guidance from the state side related to parts of it. Next item up is nomination and election of mayor pro tempore and the alternate mayor pro tempore. Before you, you see the previous ones that we have that have served in this position historically. The pro tempore is someone that has experience and has some within the city. In fact, in some cities, they actually require that the pro tempore have completed the AWC Certificate of Municipal Leadership in order to be in that position. That's like those council rules. I mean, I'm using that as an example. So with this is as a council for you to decide who you would like, and so I open up for discussion. Is there anyone who would like to kick off the discussion with that? Councilmember Fajarin?
Thank you. I'd like to nominate Councilmember Weller to serve as Mayor Pro Tem, just also for the fact that his name is the furthest on this list for the senior members, so I think it's time that he resumes that role again, if he is willing.
So so there's a motion. Is there?
Second.
We have a second, so with that.
That wasn't.
It gets kind of confusing with that. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Congratulations, Councilmember Weller. Next up would be the alternate. Anyone who would like to? Councilmember Wright? Sorry.
No.
Following along that same line of thought, I would like to nominate Ann Parks as the alternate mayor pro tem. Just again, from that chronological thing, I do get some process orientation sitting next to the mayor, so.
Councilmember Weller.
I would offer a different opinion. I know during previous discussions on this, we often like to have somebody who's newest so that they can understand the roles underneath the mayor pro tempore. So I would like to actually suggest Councilmember McDonald, if he's willing, since he did take the seat first as the newer. So that's just in line.
Other discussion? Councilmember Parks?
Councilmember McDonald is fine to be the alternate.
So you,
Yeah.
yeah?
No cage match.
Are you are you seconding then?
Well, there were two names, so I
There were
wanted
two
to
names.
clarify that
So-
first. So now there should be one name.
Okay, so you're withdrawing is what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. Are you then doing a second for that name?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion?
We do this once a year, people. It's like Thanksgiving dinner.
Okay. All those in favor for Councilmember McDonald as the alternate mayor pro tem, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Congratulations with that. Okay, next item up is moving to boards, commissions, committee assignments. You have before you the list of the different boards and commissions that that are being filled. A couple items within here, just as we're in this discussion. One is the positions that is mayor that I'm on, those are ones that are specific based on the title as mayor. So those can't be changed in that way. We do have two on here that I would like to get at least clarification on. One, I noticed that, oh, they're in different places, that's why. In the lower one, we do reference Palouse One. I believe that that organization no longer exists, so the Palouse One would not be an option there. And then the second one is we currently don't have a seat on SWEDA, so I don't think SWEDA is an option. So that's in that way. So what we do have, if you look at the Audit and Finance Committee, there's two positions there. If we look at the Capital Improvement Programs Committee, the CIP, there's two positions there. The Downtown Pullman Association, there's one position there. The Law Enforcement Officers and Firefighter Disability Board, so LEF, I believe that's one position. And what happened is we actually assigned two, but last year, but the way it's written in code, there's only one. So that one got corrected after the fact. That's where I appreciate Dee as we coordinate this. The library board has one. The Lodging Tax Advisory Committee has two. The Police Space and Aquifer Committee has one. The Palouse Regional Transportation Organization has one. And then the Volunteer Fire Pension and Relief Board, there's two of which I fill one of those. So there's one council position. And then the Whitman County Solid Waste Advisory Committee has one. So that is 13.
I noticed when I
Councilmember
was
Parks?
reading this last week that DPA is not mentioned in either space, who's on it and what it is, and I am the current representative from council.
Correct. And
But
so
it's
that
not on the
It's
document.
not on here, and so that's why I was
Okay, thank you.
referencing. So that was something that was missing from the list. So we have 13 spots, there's 7 council members, so you're roughly 2. One council member would have 1 and everybody else 2, and part of it is depending on what's your time, what's your availability. If we look in this, oftentimes for the new council members, the audit and the finance committee is one that's a really good committee for someone who's new, because what you're doing is you're reviewing all the checks, you're reviewing all the money, and so you actually get a feel for where this city is spending money and what we're spending it on, and it helps you understand that part of the city a whole lot better. With that, I'd like to, are there any others that people would like to talk about before I just kind of open up to the council for interest in that way? And you've talked about the DPA. Can you talk about, for the DPA and the library board, what are those requirements and related?
So the Downtown Pullman Association was formed as a collaboration between the city, the Chamber of Commerce, and WSU. They signed a mutual, MOU and an agreement. So part of that was each of those entities has somebody on this DPA board. So I represent the city, Haley James represents WSU, and Mackenzie Brummett currently is, she represents the chamber. We meet monthly, and we just, as you've heard Bobby talk about, we talk about those, what are we doing next? What are things we can do for our community? We also talk about grant writing. Bobby and the board have done a great job at getting us the Main Street designation, so now we are an actual Main Street downtown, and that opens us up to things like being able to request B&O tax pledges. So it can open up a lot of different avenues of income for the Downtown Pullman Association to then help make improvements downtown. So a lot of the lighting you see downtown and other special touches like that are all DPA. The events that are happening outside of the typical summer events are all DPA, so the pub crawls and the puzzle competition and all those sorts of things. So that board helps steer that. And Bobby is the executive director, so she's not the chair of the board, she is staff. The library board is a very interesting organization because of its policies, and we just reviewed the policies because the library is a city department, but yet they have a nonprofit board who does have some jurisdiction within the library. So we look at things like the art collection policy or or the regular collection. We get a budget report every month. The library director, who is the director of the library, Stacy Etchinov, she presents us with progress updates, with the numbers from the month before as far as how many visits, what age group, how many materials have been checked out by either type or age group or both, the activities and the programming that have happened at the library in the past month. And so we also, just with the help of the mayor and our city attorney, we did codify more clearly the role of the board as opposed to the role of the city in that, and I think we came up with a good solution. So it's a fun group, and you learn a lot about your library, and it helps you become a good advocate for it. The other thing I will say about the finance and the audit committee is what I learned from that pretty quickly is the city of Pullman is the city of Pullman's biggest consumer. We always try to buy things locally first. If we can source it locally, we do. So that's really a fun thing to tell people once you learn that too, because they're like, what? They're like, we spend a lot of money right here in the city. So that's a fun committee too.
Councilor Miller, would you like to talk about the ones that you're currently on?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Palouse Basin Aquifer Committee, of course, deals with our regional water source. The challenge that we have is we really don't know how much water we have. And it's a shared between, Moscow and Pullman, with other, with farmers and other regional entities. Yeah, and WSU, U of I as well. So right now we're in the midst of a pretty big project looking at alternative sources. This has been discussed quite a bit, and we actually have a solid plan. Everybody seems to be behind it. In years past, there's been some challenges from some locals that feel that regulating water or looking for alternative resources it's been a touchy subject. It's a great group. We have representatives from both sides of the border and also ecology, and we are, as we go through the project, this particular project, we are in communication with tribal representatives as well. So getting all of the entities on board. Of course, there's the water summit that comes up, and that is something you can get involved in as well. As far as the solid waste advisory committee, it's not all trash. It's also a recycling, but in all honesty, I didn't realize exactly, and I know it's going to sound weird and corny, how fascinating you get into some of the, really looking at the global chain of what occurs with recycling and trash. China used to buy a lot of our recycling. When that went down, it cut off huge sources of funding for recycling. There's been a number of different changes along the years, from separated recycling to single stream. Right now we're going through our 10-year plan, and we're looking at that. I would say one of the challenges we face, and this is here locally in the city as well, comes from state mandates. And those state mandates end up putting a lot of costs on us locally and regionally, and there's very little that we can do about it. One of those that's going to come up is organics, and that's going to be a huge cost for us. And how do you deal with that when it comes to the landfill? You have to separate organics. There's a lot of interesting, like I said, for me, it is quite fascinating once you start to look at it. So I won't take up any more time, but that's SWAC.
Councilmember Wright?
So I currently serve on the Lodging Tax Advisory Commission, and that position is term limited or term driven by ordinance, and that is a 3-year term. And as a lot of you have heard in the past, lodging tax is the monies that are collected from the different hospitality of venues, organizations, hotels, motels. Now we've included short-term rental people in that mix, and so they're designated as the collectors of the lodging tax that you pay anytime you stay in a hotel or motel or STR. In Pullman, it's a 4% tax. Other municipalities have a higher amount. Others just stay with it's a state mandated 2% minimum. And other municipalities add on to that depending on their size and what they're trying to fund, because people can fund up to stadiums, arenas, venues like that. And then the other segment of lodging tax are the group of people that are recipients of that tax. So if you submit a grant request for an event, I'll I'll say one that is probably recognizable by a lot of people would be the Palouse Summer Series, the baseball series that happens in Pullman in June and July. They are recipients of lodging tax dollars. We have other recipients. Chamber of Commerce has been a recipient of those dollars. Cougs First, an organization that represents Cougar businesses, they have been recipients. And so it's that mix of people that populate that commission. Currently, we have 2 city elected positions on the commission. The chair of that commission is always the elected, and then we have a second one whose position we do need to fill tonight. That had been vacated by Megan Guido, who is no longer on council. That commission meets on the second Tuesday of each month, unless it's canceled, kind of like city council. We meet every Tuesday unless canceled. But the main reason that we would meet would be to consider grant requests that have been sent to us for some of those dollars. The other committee that I have served on for several years is the Capital Improvement Program, and that is considering all of those individual department requests for capital items to consider. A fire truck being one item, buses being another item. So and that committee is not, it's intensive, it's reading intensive, detail intensive for a short period of time, but then once you've gotten through all of that and considering all of those requests, then you're done for typically a year. That committee meets once or twice a year, but mainly in May. And so as I say, that one is not nearly as time intense as some of the other committees are. So that's where I am.
Councilmember Fajarin?
Thank you. Nothing more to add since the committees that I serve on have already been talked about, but I'll share with my fellow council members, you won't have to twist my arm too hard to take my audit committee spot. So please jump on that. It is very insightful, though, to go over the numbers. Capital Improvement Program, Councilmember Wright explained it very well, exploring 5-year outlook on capital projects every year. I can foresee that this is going to be very important work considering City of Pullman's upcoming budget constraints, and so I will empower any city council member to be part of that group.
So with that, what I'd like to do is, Councilmember Parks?
Sorry. I also serve on the, where is it? Law Enforcement Officer and Firefighters Disability Board, and the city helps pay for if law enforcement or firefighters are disabled or they go into assisted living and things like that. There's a budget set up for that, and the state law says that we need to, this board approves the expenditures every month. And it's a very short meeting on Zoom or telephone, or you can phone in, and it's just basically Dee provides the invoices that we're currently receiving, and the employees' names are redacted, so we don't know who they're for. We just know that it's, here are the benefits that are being paid this month, and do we approve that or not? So I'm sorry I didn't mention that earlier.
So if we look at the 13 positions that are open right now, there's one currently filled by Councilmember Wright, the Lodging Tax Advisory Commission, because it's a 3-year term, is how that is set, which I believe ends December of this. We'll have to go look. I mean, we'll have to do a review on that. But so I'd like to open it up, and from a council piece, if there's a particular one, let's fill one for you and then come back around again. Looks like Councilmember Shumas, you have at least a question or maybe you have a thought.
I didn't understand if there was an opening on the downtown one, or if you had filled the only opening and it was just one
There
opening.
is an opening.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
they're all open right now except for the lodging tax because it was a 3-year appointment. And so that one is how that appointment works. So is there, what would be your first preference with that? And I see Councilmember Vance is raring to go.
Yeah, I'm very interested in the Lodging Tax Advisory Commission.
Okay. Okay, so I see that. Councilmember Fajarin?
I'm interested in one that we haven't talked about, actually, the Palouse Regional Transportation Planning Organization. I know that past Councilmember DeLira was a huge champion of that group as well as transportation, and I'd love to follow in her footsteps.
Okay. Others that would like to jump up to select one? Council.
I mean,
Smith?
downtown is like an alignment for me, but if Ann is happy there, I don't have to do that. I, being the primary employee at my workplace, do have some hour constraints that don't work with some of these, and that would be my only, if I did something else, that would be my only thought.
That's why we're having this conversation now. Councilmember Parks?
So is the DPA, would they meet the fourth Wednesday from 3 to 5?
That works for me.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
so-
fine with, I
Are you
really
sure?
am. No, I think you would be good. I do. Hmm? No, it's good.
Okay, so I have that for the downtown. Other individuals? Councilmember Parks?
I am happy to stay on the library unless somebody else wants to give it a go. I enjoy it very much.
Okay, so
And
we'll
that's-
Parks down there. We're down to 2 for your first, we're doing like, selection rounds right now.
I wouldn't mind doing the capital improvement.
Okay. Councilmember Weller?
Well, I think I've been on every single one of these boards.
I think you have.
Except for like, I don't know, LTAC and downtown, but quite frankly, the opportunity for the newer council members, I always feel, is, I don't get really attached, to this. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to learn. So I will say that, and I will cede that to whoever,
Well, this is your opportunity for what's your first one that you would like? I know you got 2 that you talked about. Which one of those?
I will let other people decide.
Okay, is there somebody who would like to, for a second one? Councilmember Fajarin?
If the opportunity is open, I will volunteer to serve on the Whitman County Solid Waste Advisory Committee.
Okay. Others? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Just stay where I am. So that would be
Lodging
LTAC and CIP.
and CIP, okay? Works?
I'm happy to stay on the left board as well,
Okay.
unless somebody else wants it.
So I have an audit slot, a lodging tax slot, a Palouse Basin Aquifer, and volunteer fire pension and relief board.
Okay, I don't mind learning about the audit stuff, but again, it doesn't say when it meets, and
And the audit is flexible time, so it's.
is it, that might be a really
that's-
good one then for me.
That's probably a good one for you, just for flexible. Okay.
I'm trying to remember the list, but I think lodging tax was
We're-
still up.
We're down to lodging tax, aquifer, and volunteer,
How many seats were on lodging tax?
no.
Okay, so say it again.
Oh, I
There
thought
was
you
one
said,
that
I
I was.
thought you had audit. No, you said, okay, I'm
I said
sorry.
lodging tax, thank you.
Okay, I misspoke on that. So we have an audit position still available, Palouse Basin Aquifer, and the volunteer fire pension relief board.
I'll take an audit one just to get more visibility and experience with the city.
Okay. Do you want to stay with Blue Space and Aquifer?
Sure, that's fine
Okay.
by me.
So
Unless
wanna-
other people
I wanna
wanna
get you-
learn
I
about
want to
it,
get you
so.
in there. And so for those that haven't done 2, we do have the Volunteer Fire Pension Relief Board. Who would like that? And I think that's,
Trevor.
I can jump on it.
okay. Great. So what I have is for the Audit Committee is McDonald and Schulmus. I have for the CIP is McDonald and Wright. For the Downtown Pullman Association, Schulmus. For the law enforcement, the left board is Parks. The library is Parks. The LTAC is Wright and Vance. For PBAC is Weller. For PRTPO is Fajarin. For the BVFFF is Vance, and then solid waste is Fajarin. Does that sound right?
I think so.
Okay. And something's being reviewed related to the makeup of the committees, so.
I think we're okay.
Okay, great. Okay. With that, we move on to our next item, discussion item, which is the work group assignments. So these work group assignments were formed 2 years ago when the council did goal setting. And as a part of that, the council identified areas where they felt the council wanted to be involved with as a part of the moving forward specific goals. And within there, we have strategic tourism, that is promote and advance the strategic tourism and marketing plan. And currently, Councilmember Wright is on that one. For the housing was develop and advance a long-term attainable and affordable housing plan. Councilmember Fajarin's on that one. Now that group has technically finished their work, but, well, with a plan, because that was, well, I mean, because the charge was to develop and advance a long-term attainable and affordable housing plan. So that would be a question of, and I would look to Councilmember Fajarin of, is there a need for it to continue to meet or not as we get into this discussion? The bypass was select and advance the downtown freight and transportation bypass, of which Parks, Weller, and Wright were on. Repurpose in-town railways, which was develop and advance a plan to repurpose the in-town railways, which Fajarin, Parks, and Weller. And then the welcoming, which is to promote the understanding and appreciation of community connections and cultural diversity through neighborhood gatherings, block and hill parties, educational forums, cultural events, and community engagement, especially for the historically marginalized, of which I'm the only one that's currently left on there. And then the last one was strategic influence and partnerships. Develop and implement a strategic influence and partnership plan that emphasizes the importance of influence and collaboration with local, regional, state, and national entities, of which myself and the city administrator was on. So you're going to be going into the goal-setting process starting next month. You'll finish the goals probably April, May timeframe, as historically as that goal-setting process is taken. So these would technically run until the new goals are set, and then you would determine whether you want to continue with work groups or not. So what's kind of before you as a council right now is, do we want to continue these? And if so, who would like to be on them? And that's where, and we can have a maximum of 3 at a time, just so that, because otherwise you're into issues where if you have 4, then you're representing the whole council, which makes it a little problematic. Councilmember Schumas.
Sorry, so are you just thinking the 3 new of us should probably look at the little spots that are empty and just try and fill those? Is that the easiest thing, or are you talking about us blowing this all up and?
I'm looking to the council.
Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to understand what we're.
I think the easiest way is to keep those that are currently on it and not blow it up. But if this is something the council wants to blow up, now's the time to do it.
I'm happy just filling the slots that are there. It's
Okay.
only like 4 months, so.
Yeah. Councilmember Parks?
I did want to say with these, I don't see it anywhere, but at least the ones that I am on, most of the bypass and the repurposing of the in-town railways, there is always a staff member there to help us, to help guide us and answer questions or present new information that perhaps they have that they have for us. So it's not just, as far as I know, at least for those 2, it isn't just the three of us in a room.
Councilmember Weller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I almost feel it would be good to understand where we are with each of these work groups, because as you mentioned, housing is somewhat near the end or at a status point. Okay. See, we don't really know where each of us are in these work groups.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the bypass, some of those things, some of what we've discussed in there is at a point right now where there's not a whole lot more that we can do without assistance from state authorities or things like that, and correct me if I'm wrong. And similar with in-town railways, from what I've seen, just the little bit that I've seen, we're each at different points.
We're each at different points, and it could be of, do we place people on and then have you come together and meet? And then some of you, it might be where we don't need to meet any further, but at least it informs, or, I mean, we can handle it either way, or we can just not put people on it if that's the recommendation of one of these groups. So, Councilmember McDonald, sorry.
Is there a way that we could just say, if there's ones that someone knows, hey, no, we need help and we need help now with these, that we assign those, and then otherwise, maybe when we do our goal setting, it's like, are these the right ones? Are there new ones? And then do a real reset there.
Yeah, because there's going to be a reset with the goals. I agree. Councilmember Fajarin?
Thank you. I just want to advocate for the work that the housing group has done and is planning to do in the future. The housing group was charged with providing a plan to council for goal setting, and I would encourage council to look at the document that was sent out by ex-councilmember Guido on that. We have a lot of work to do, especially in regards to developing the missing middle, working with the developing and talking about possible down payment housing assistance, or what's the low-hanging fruit that the city can step up to in order to promote affordable housing. For example, having an affordable housing website page. A lot of municipalities have that. So I will advocate for the continue work for the Housing Committee. We also have a great group of stakeholders involved, developers, builders. We're looking for renters, and we're looking for lenders to really have the stakeholders at the table in order to solve this housing issue.
Okay, so in light of kind of what I'm hearing for the discussion, if we walk our way through, strategic tourism, Councilmember Wright, you're currently the one that's on it. That one, I believe, is still continuing.
Well, kind of.
So do we want to bring people together on this?
Well, I personally would just as soon wait on that until we establish the new goals.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because there have been a lot of tourism initiatives that have been picked up by other groups that that came forth from this tourism piece. And we actually even talked about it a little bit today in our lodging tax meeting. And J.J. Martin, who's the new tourism manager for the city, actually, has lots of ideas, and the city has actually, the chamber has put a lot of programs in place that have picked up on a lot of the tourism initiatives that we were looking at as this group. The other thing is that an integral partner in the strategic tourism was WSU, and that has taken on a couple different iterations with different players, and I think they are at a point where they're evaluating what they want to have as their involvement in that, both in tourism and in chamber activities. So that's the reason I would defer on this, is because there are things out there that we can work on, but I can't do it by myself.
So not on the tourism, I hear yes on the housing. As it relates to bypass, that one, we already have the 3 on, so that one wouldn't change in that way. For the in-town railways, we also have your 3 that are already on already, so that wouldn't change either. The welcoming, that's one where I would definitely, I feel that we can continue. I would welcome more people onto it. So there's room for 2 there. So really, it looks like the housing and the welcoming are the ones where if the new council members are interested, either the housing or the welcoming one, those would be the 2 to move forward on. So with that,
I'll take
Councilmember
whatever
Shumas?
I'll do whatever you guys don't want.
Okay.
I'm happy to fill in and fit in.
When I saw all of them, I listed 3 of the 6 that I would be super interested in. Housing would be my number 1, and then welcoming would have actually been number 2. So I'd be happy to be on either or both of those.
Okay. And so it's up to you.
And those were actually the same 2 that I chose.
What's that?
Those were the same 2 that I chose, housing and welcoming.
Mayor Benjamin, I'll gladly stay on as the strategic influence and partnerships.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I already have you there, so okay. So you need to pick one. Housing or welcoming?
I think they both had housing as their first, so I will take welcoming so that they can
Okay.
do that. I think that's.
And then if each of you go on housing is what I'm hearing for it, is there anyone else that would like to be on welcoming? So, and either of the 2 of you, would you like a second committee to be on as it relates to that?
Brian, you can go for it. And I can jump on tourism.
Yeah, I would defer to any of the longer-term city council members if any of them want to. Otherwise, I'm definitely happy
Theirs
to.
are already filled. So
Okay,
it's
yeah,
really,
I'd be happy.
It's really between the 3 of you. Okay, so what I have is for the housing one, we're adding Vance and McDonald, and on the welcoming, we're adding Shilmus and McDonald. Okay?
And so just for clarification, some of these are naturally going to change based on our council goals, right?
These all sunset with the new council
Okay.
goals. So all of these will sunset at that period of time, and then with the new council goals, we'll then determine whether one continues or whether, and morphs or whatever that way. Okay. Moving through things. So what we're down to is we do have an executive session tonight. So at this time, the city council will adjourn to executive session pursuant to, while the provision of the Open Public Meetings Act does not apply to discussions relating to the interpretation or application of of labor agreements or that portion of the meeting during which the governing body is planning or adopting a strategy or position to be taken during the course of any collective bargaining, professional negotiation, or grievance or mediation proceedings, or reviewing the proposals made during the course of negotiations or proceedings. The City Council is announcing its intention to discuss such matters in executive session. The executive session is expected to last 10 minutes, and if it becomes necessary to extend the executive session, someone will return to announce the anticipated additional time needed by the City Council. The Council does not anticipate taking action following the executive session. It's 7:05, so we will start at 7:07.
Hey, can I get all the council behind the mayor? I'm going to go down there and get a selfie of all.
It's 7:17. We're going to continue executive session for another 5 minutes. It's 7:22. We're extending executive session another 5 minutes. It is 7:27. I'm calling the council back into order, and at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. I entertain a motion to adjourn. I need a couple council members out.
You two are taking it.
So motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.